Back to Godhead Prabhupada Hari Kirtana, The Yoga for the Modern Age. Back to Godhead Volume 34, 1970 by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Sito Darpanam Arjanam Bhavamahadavagnī Nirvapanam Shraya Karava Kandrika Vidaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Buddhivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamartas Vedanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vihayat Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the Sankirtana movement. Param Vihayat Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was only a 16-year-old boy, introduced this Sankirtana movement 500 years ago in Navadvipa, India. It was not that he manufactured some religious system, just as nowadays so many religious systems are being manufactured. Actually, religion cannot be manufactured. Dharmam tu saksad bhagavat pranatam. Religion means the codes of God, the laws of God, that's all. Certainly we cannot live without obeying the state laws, and similarly, we cannot live without obeying the laws of God. And in the Bhagavad Gita the Lord says, Yada yada hi dharmasaya glenir bhavanti birdabhyadhanam dharmasaya, and there is a predominance of religious activities, tadadmanam srajamiyaham, at that time I, Krishna, appear. And in the material world we can see the same principle demonstrated, for whenever there is disobedience of state laws, there is the advent of some particular state officer or policeman to set things right. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is worshipped by the Gosvamis. There were 6 Gosvamis, Rupa Gosvami, Sanatana Gosvami, Raghunatha Bhatta Gosvami, Yiva Gosvami, Gopala Bhatta Gosvami, and Sri Raghunatha Dasa Gosvami. There are 3 meanings of Go. Go means land, Go means cow, Go means senses, and Svami means master. So Gosvami means that they were masters of the senses. When one becomes master of the senses, or Gosvami, he can make progress in spiritual life. That is the real meaning of Svami. Svami does not mean that he is servant of the senses, but master of them. One of these 6 Gosvamis, Rupa Gosvami, was the head, and he compiled a nice verse in honor of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says, Anarpata Kareem Sarat Karanaya Vetirna Kalau Samarpadaman Nadojjvala Rasam Svabhakti Sriyam Hari Parada Sandara Dayuti Kadambas Andipata Sada Herdaya Kandar Sphuratu Vasasi Nandana. Kalau means this age of Kali, the Iron Age, which is very much contaminated, an age of quarrel and disagreement. Rupa Gosvami says that in this age of Kali, when everything is disagreement and quarrel, you have descended to offer the highest love of God. Samarpadaman Nadojjvala Rasam. And not only the topmost, but a very brilliant rasa or transcendental humor. Parata Sandara Dayuti. Your complexion is just like gold, like the luster of gold. You are so kind that I bless everyone. The Gosvamis can bless because they are masters of the senses, that this form of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, may always remain dancing in everyone's heart. When Rupa Gosvami first met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, Lord Chaitanya was chanting and dancing in the street Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. At that time also he offered one prayer. Namamaha Vidanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Oh, you are the most munificent of all incarnations because you are distributing love of Godhead. Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namna Gaurat Nama. You are Krishna himself because if you were not Krishna you could not distribute Krishna Prema or love of God, for love of Krishna is not so easily acquired. But you are distributing this love freely to everyone. In this way this Sankirtana movement was inaugurated in Bengal, India, and in Navadvipa. In this sense, the Bengalis are very fortunate that in their country this movement was inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya who predicted, Prithavidake Yada Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Prakar More Nama. In all the villages and towns all over the world, everywhere, this Sankirtana movement will be preached. That is his future prediction. So by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, this movement is already introduced in the Western countries, beginning from New York. Our Sankirtana movement was first introduced in New York in 1966. At that time I came and began to chant this Hare Krishna mantra in Tompkins Square. I was chanting there for 3 hours with a small maranga, drum, and these American boys assembled and gradually joined, and so it is increasing. First of all it was started in a New York storefront, 26 2nd Avenue, then we started our branches in San Francisco, in Montreal, Boston, in Los Angeles, in Buffalo, in Columbus. We now have 24 branches, including one in London and one in Hamburg. In London they are all American boys and girls, and they are preaching. They are not sannyasi, nor are they Vedantists, nor Hindus, nor Indians, but they have taken this movement very seriously. Even in the London Times there was an article headline, Krishna chant startles London. So we have many in the movement now. All my disciples, at least in this country, are Americans and Europeans. They are chanting, dancing, and are issuing a paper, Back to Godhead. Now we have published many books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita as it is, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Upanishad. It is not that this movement is simply a sentimental movement. Don't think that these boys are dancing out of some religious sentiment or fanaticism. No. We have the highest philosophical and theosophical background. As an illustration, let us consider Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While he was preaching, he went to Benares, the seat of Mayavadi sannyasis. The followers of Sankaracharya are mostly seen in Benares. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, he was chanting and dancing. Some of the people very much appreciated this, and so he quickly became famous. One prominent sannyasi, Prakāsananda Sarasvati, leader of many thousands of Mayavadi sannyasis, was informed, "Oh, from Bengal one young sannyasi has come. He is so nicely chanting and dancing." Prakāsananda Sarasvati was a great Vedantist, and he did not like the idea. He said, "Oh, he is a pseudo-sannyasi. He is chanting and dancing, and this is not the business of sannyasi. A sannyasi should always engage himself in the study of philosophy and Vedanta." Then one of the devotees who did not like the remarks of Prakāsananda Sarasvati came back and informed Lord Chaitanya that he was being criticized. So the devotee arranged a meeting of all the sannyasis, and there was a philosophical discussion on Vedanta between Prakāsananda Sarasvati and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These accounts and philosophical discussions are given in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It is remarkable that Prakāsananda himself with all his disciples became Vaisnavas. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a great discussion with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the greatest logician of that time, who was also Mayavadi, impersonalist, and he was also converted. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is not mere sentimentalism. There is a very rich background if one wants to understand this Sankirtana movement through philosophy and logic. There is ample opportunity, for this movement is based on science and on the authority of the Vedas. But it is all simplified. That is the beauty of this movement. Whether one is a great scholar or philosopher or a child, he can take part without any difficulty. Other systems of self-realization, the jnana process or yoga process, are also recognized, but it is not possible to practice them in this age. That is the verdict of the Vedas. Krite yadya yada visnam tretayam yajadamake divapar parakaryam kalalhad dari kirtanat. Bog. December 3, 1952. In the Satya Yuga, the Golden Age, it was possible to execute the meditation process. For instance, Valmiki Muni meditated for 60,000 years to get perfection. But where is our old age? Besides that, for the meditation process, as described in the Bhagavad Gita, one has to select a secluded place, he has to execute it alone, he has to sit down in a rigid posture, he has to lead a life of complete celibacy and so on. There are many rules and regulations. Thus Ashtanga Yoga meditation is not possible. But if one is satisfied by imitating, that is a different thing. If one, however, wants perfection, then he has to execute all the 8 stages of Ashtanga Yoga. If this is not possible, then it is a waste of time. What is the ultimate goal of the yoga process or meditation? Contact with the Supreme, the Supersoul, the Supreme Lord, is the aim and object of all yoga processes. Similarly, philosophical research, the jnana process, also aims at understanding the Supreme Brahman. These are recognized processes, undoubtedly, but according to authoritative description, they are not practical in this iron age of Kali. Therefore one has to take to this process of Hari Kirtana. Anyone can practice without pre-qualification. One doesn't have to study philosophy or Vedanta. This was the purport of Lord Chaitanya's meeting with Prakāsananda Sarasvati. When the Vedanta philosophy was thoroughly discussed between Lord Chaitanya and Prakāsananda Sarasvati first of all asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "I understand that you were a very good scholar in your early life." Lord Chaitanya was actually a very great scholar. His name was Nimai Pandit, and at the age of 16 he defeated one great scholar from Kashmir, Kesava Kashmiri, and I understand that you are a great Sanskrit scholar, and that especially in logic you are a very learned scholar. You were also born in a Brahmana family, and now you are a sannyasi. How is it that you are chanting and dancing and not reading Vedanta? This was the first question asked by Prakāsananda Sarasvati, and Lord Chaitanya replied, "Yes, the reason is that when I was initiated by my spiritual master, he said that I am full number 1. You don't discuss Vedanta," he told me. "You will simply spoil your time. Just take to this chanting of Hare Krishna, and you will be successful." That was his reply. Of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not a fool, and certainly Vedanta is not for fools. One needs sufficient education, and one must attain a certain status before he can understand Vedanta. In each and every word there are volumes of meanings, and there are many commentaries by Lord Sankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, huge volumes in Sanskrit. But how can we understand Vedanta? It is not possible. It may be possible for one person or two persons to understand, but for the mass of people it is not possible. Nor is it possible to practice yoga. Therefore, if one takes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method, chanting Hare Krishna, the first installment of gain will be Sito Darpana Marjanam, all the dirty things will be cleansed from the heart simply by chanting. Chant. There is no expenditure, and there is no loss. If one simply chants for 1 week, he'll see how much he will progress in spiritual knowledge. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare. We are attracting many students simply by chanting, and they are understanding the entire philosophy and becoming purified. This society's movement started only 4 years ago, 1966, and we have so many branches already. The American boys and girls are taking it very seriously, and they are happy. Ask any one of them. Sito Darpana Marjanam. They are cleansing the dirty things from the heart, simply by chanting Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare. The next point is Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam. As soon as the heart is cleansed of all dirty things, then all the problems of material existence are immediately solved. This world has been compared with Davagni, which means a blazing fire in the forest. In this material existence no one wants unhappiness, but it comes by force. That is the law of material nature. No one wants fire, but wherever we go in a city the fire brigade is always active. There is always fire. Similarly, there are many things that no one wants. No one wants death, there is death. No one wants disease, there is disease. No one wants old age, there is old age. They are there, against our will, against our desire. Thus we should consider the state of this material existence. This human form of life is meant for understanding, not for wasting valuable life like animals by eating, sleeping, mating and defending. That is not advancement of civilization. The Bhagavatam says that this body is not meant for working hard simply for sense gratification. Nayamdiha da bhajamnalai kastan kamanarhati bidbhujamyi. To work very hard and satisfy oneself by sense gratification is the business of hogs, not human beings. The human being should learn tapasya. Especially in India, so many great sages, so many great kings, and so many brahmacharis and sannyasis have passed their lives in great tapasya in order not to go further to sleep. Lord Buddha was a prince who gave up everything and engaged himself in tapasya. This is life. When King Bharata Maharaja, under whose name India was named Bharatavarsa, was 24 years old, he gave up his kingdom, his young wife and young children and went away for tapasya. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was only 24, he gave up his young wife, mother, everything. There are many, many examples. India is the land of tapasya, but we are forgetting that. Now we are making it the land of technology. It is surprising that India is now no longer propagating this tapasya, for India is the land of Dharma, Dharmaksetar Kuruksetar. But it is not only in India, everywhere in this age of iron everything is degraded in this sense, pranalpya usasabhya kala vasman jana. In this age of Kali the duration of life is diminished, and men are not moved to understand self-realization, and if they are invariably misled by so many deceitful leaders. The age is very corrupt. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process of chanting Hare Krishna is the best and the simplest method. Hare Nama eva kevalam / kalau nasti eva gadaranyatha. In this age of Kali there is no other religion than glorifying the Lord by utterance of His holy name, and that is the injunction of all the revealed scriptures. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. This verse appears in Brihadaranyaka Purana. Simply chant Hare Krishna. There is no other alternative. Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalau, in this age, Kali, nasti eva gadaranyatha. There is no other alternative for self-realization. So we have to accept it. There is another version in Srimad Bhagavatam. Pariksit Maharaja was informed by Sukadeva Goswami of the faults of this age in the 12th canto, 3rd chapter, and now all the symptoms of the age of Kali are apparent. In the conclusive portion, however, Sukadeva Goswami says, Kalar dosanad rajanasti hyeko mahan guna. My dear king, this age, Kali, is full of faulty things, but there is one good opportunity. What is that? Kirtana eva Krishnasya mukta sanga paramvarajet. Simply by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, one can become liberated and go back to Godhead. This is practical and authorized, and one can also test himself to see how he is advancing simply by chanting. This Krishna consciousness movement is not something new, something that we have introduced or manufactured. It is authorized on the Vedic principles, authorized by Acharyas like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and others. And the method is very simple, there is no loss. We are not charging anything. We are not asking for fees and giving the people some secret mantra and promising them that within 6 months they will become God. No. This is open for everyone, children, women, girls, boys, old people, everyone can chant and see the results. To further this end we not only are establishing New Vrindavana, our commune, but are establishing New Navadvipa and New Jagannath Puri in America. We have already started New Jagannath Puri in San Francisco, and the Ratha Yatra festival is going on. This year also there will be a great ceremony of Ratha Yatra in London. There will be 3 cars for Jagannath, Subhadra, and Balarama, and they will be taken to the River Thames. And in America they have imported New England and New York, so why not New Vrindavana? We should especially establish this New Vrindavana because Lord Chaitanya recommended Aradhya Bhagavan Krishna Tad Dhamma Vrindavanam. Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaja, in the Vrindavana Dhamma of Rajabhumi, is the supreme worshipable deity, and his place Vrindavana is also worshipable. The Western boys and girls are taking to Krishna consciousness, and they should have a place like Vrindavana. Swami Kirtanananda, who went to Vrindavana with me 2 years ago, knows what Vrindavana is like, so I have instructed him to construct at least 7 temples. In Vrindavana, there are 5,000 temples of Radha Krishna, but the most important temples are 7, established by the Goswamis. Our program is to live in New Vrindavana, depend on agriculture and cows as an economic solution, and peacefully execute Krishna consciousness, chant Hare Krishna, that is the Vrindavana scheme. Yuktahara Viharas Siya Yoga Bhavati Siddhada. This human form of life isn't meant for increasing artificial needs. We should be satisfied just to maintain the body and soul together, and the rest of the time we should enhance our Krishna consciousness so that after leaving this body we won't have to take another material body but will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. That should be the motto of human life. Material life means eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and spiritual life means something more than this. This is also the difference between animal life and human life. In animal life, the common formula is eating, sleeping, mating and defending. A dog eats, a man also eats. A man sleeps, and a dog also sleeps. A man has sex life, and the dog also has sex life. The dog defends in his own way, and man also defends in his own way, maybe atomic bombs. These 4 principles are common to human beings and animals, and advancement of these 4 principles is not human civilization but animal civilization. Human civilization means Athato Brahma Jinasa. In the Vedanta Sutra the first aphorism is Athato Brahma Jinasa. Now is the time for inquiry about Braham, that is the human life. As long as one is not spiritually inquisitive, Jinasus Rayo Adamam, he is an animal because he lives according to these 4 principles, that's all. He must be inquisitive to know what he is and why he is put into these miseries of life, birth, death, old age, disease. Is there any remedy? These matters should be questioned. That is human life, that is spiritual life. Spiritual life means human life, and material life means animal life. That's all. We have to make the adjustments that are recommended in the Bhagavad Gita. Yuktahara Viharasya. BG. 6.17. For instance, this does not mean that because I am going to be a spiritual man I shall give up eating. Rather, my eating should be adjusted. Bhagavad Gita describes what class of food is first class, in goodness, and what class of food is in passion, and third class, in ignorance. We have to raise ourselves to the sattvic, goodness, platform of human civilization, then revive our transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Everything is there in the sastras. Unfortunately we do not consult them. Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Bhagavat Tattvavignanam Mukta Sangasaya J8 Bhag. January 2, 2020. Unless one is liberated from the clutches of these 3 modes of material nature, he cannot understand God. Prasanna Manaso. He must be a Braham realized soul. Brahmabhuta Prasanatmanasakati Nakanksati, BG. 18.54. These injunctions are there, so one should take advantage of these sastras and preach. That is the responsibility of intelligent men. The mass of people know that God is great, but they do not know how great God actually is. That we will find in the Vedic literature. That is our duty in this iron age. That is Hari Kirtana, Param Vihayat Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, glorification of the Supreme.